Art is it's a new word. I would say it probably didn't have any real meaning to the people, but today it means stuff like this: beadwork, willow work. Everything we do is art. So there's a complex meaning, something that just is. That's my first one. I made it for my sister.
Marquez Haadawayuk, Niniyan Darla Pikyavit von Moapa Band of Paiutes. Hello, my name is Darla Pikyavit. I'm a member of the Moapa Band of Paiutes. This is my basket hat that he made, and it was his first basket. It started out with just being the little tiny, nub up here, and then he decided to practice more, and he went on, and then pretty soon he just popped out this hat. These boxes here represent every single one of my siblings. I have 6. And then around here represents all of us. It's all my 6 of us kids and my mom and dad. I'm the daughter of Eldon K. Pikyavit, who's an enrolled member of the Kanosh Band in Kanosh, Utah, which is above Cedar City. And my mother is from here, Moapa, Nevada, Donna. I think we primarily were raised in Enterprise, Utah. We're back and forth from Enterprise, Utah to here. My dad was a worker of the railroad, and so he did a lot of traveling, but I don't know how he did a lot of traveling is what they tell me, but I see a lot of pictures where I'm dirty, and they say I was a daddy's girl, and all my pictures are sitting on his shoulders, on the tractor with him, or in the truck with him. Every single picture is with my dad. I barely have any with my mom. So eventually we moved back here to the reservation, Moapa. My dad, when I was 6, was murdered and thrown out just down the road here. And he was robbed for 65 cents. And so that kind of spiraled my mom into drinking. And eventually, I think it was 6 months after my dad had passed, she committed suicide finally. After, I think they said about 7 or 8 attempts, she finally committed suicide. And so that left us siblings, just myself, Everett, and Joel. After a while, we were given to the system. It was foster care after foster care, and we were split apart. I think we stayed together for about 2 years, and then we were split for the rest of, until he was like 22, I think. I finally got to see him again.
My grandmother always picked me up. I love being with my grandma. I can still see where she was at. It's kind of hard to remember sometimes. That's always sad. I never got to spend my last days with her, or her last days with her. She passed away in mid-80s, but today I keep doing what I do. I don't know, it just it feels really good.
For me, when I do at least an hour after work, an hour at night, sometimes I'm like too tired to go in there and actually start something. And so I'll go take a nap, and I end up getting up in the middle of the night and working throughout the night. And that kind of, for me, is my way of self-centering myself, of kind of like using it as a medicine that makes me, get up in the morning.
What makes you feel good, first of all? I wouldn't say it defines me who I am. Could. I don't know. I think the smaller they get, the finer it becomes. Who spends time doing that on something like this? I do. I go a little bit further too. It's always there. Especially when you're somebody like me that sees the world not quite the way everybody else does. Most people, they live their lives. We take them to school. They do a school thing for a while. They bumpity bump along. I never did that. I plugged in just like I belonged there.
Where in nature do you feel the happiest?
Right out there.
I think and believe that connection is always with any nation of Native Americans, with being connected with the earth, the sky, ourselves, with everything that lives, that has a life, that we believe has, everything has a life. Our rocks, our trees, our animals of all walks. That deep connection when it comes to willows and other materials that we use in our baskets or in creation, not only Paiutes, but other tribal nations that weave and use those materials to do their creations.
Do you have an idea of what to gather, or does it come naturally as you're out there gathering?
I would say it comes naturally. I don't know what I need. I just know I need a couple things for this, for that. Yeah, I collect massive amounts if I can. And as time goes on, I just pick what I want, what sizes I need, go from there.
Do you have a favorite piece in particular?
The water jug's my favorite.
Why is that?
Because of how old it is. Because I continue making them. They've been around for thousands of years. I know that because of the way people write about them. Anthropologists in Nevada found them years ago in a cave. So out of all these baskets, it's my favorite. The way I see them is they don't represent just me. They represent all my people. And the time we've been here. I think it's about 11,000, 12,000 years old. How do you think that makes me feel? That old. I still do it.
One night in Salt Lake, and I found myself face down in the snow, no coat, don't know how long I was there, and no frostbite. I was still alive. I told my brother I'm ready. He could totally cut me off, and I said I'm ready. And he said okay. So he sent me a ticket, and a one-way ticket to California. Now, at that time I was living in Salt Lake. And I knew then that my life had to change. But it didn't take me, a year or two. It took me 3 years of sitting on his couch and trying to figure out what I wanted to do. And it took him to push me to learn how to bead, is when I first started learning. I had stopped all uses of drugs and alcohol at that point. And it's when I took an interest in dancing. And he said, okay. And I tell you, in a week he made me a regalia, did my first dance, and the next time he did a giveaway for me for my coming out, and so that was pretty cool. And I didn't take interest in it for a little while, and then all of a sudden it just hit me, like, oh my gosh, I got to learn all this stuff. Like, what do I need to do? And he started teaching me little by little. He didn't give it to me all in one. It was just little pieces. He's a believer in himself and others. And I think I picked that up. That's where I picked it up. Being able to have that connection with those who don't believe in themselves is where I learned that was from Everett, because he believes that in everything and anything that he has come in contact with. He has a lot of stories, and he has a lot of history and knowledge in our culture, and he's trying to keep that alive by producing the baskets and the artwork and the connections that he has. And so I think he's pretty amazing, and I may be a little biased, but he is he is amazing, and so glad to have him as my sibling, and as someone who has been my teacher and mentor throughout my life. I think that the artwork was given to myself and my brother Everett as a healer, because that's something that's probably kept us going. And I think in our community, we're still here. We're still here as Paiute people, and we're still creating. We're still learning, even though all that has been taken away. We're still coming back, learning, creating, sharing, coming to the community.
So what would you like other people to know?
Can you try?
It's worth it.
Yeah, give it a try. Just roll onto your side.
I think it is.